I never thought I'd hear from him again. 4 years. That's how long it had been since the divorce. Since the day I signed those papers with trembling hands and walked out of the lawyer's office feeling like I was leaving pieces of myself behind. 4 years since I'd last seen Marcus's face, heard his voice, felt the weight of his presence in my life. And then, on a random Tuesday afternoon, his name appeared on my phone screen. My stomach dropped. My hand froze over the notification. For a moment, I considered deleting it without reading it. But curiosity, or maybe some deep, unhealed part of me, made me open it. Hi, I know this might seem strange, but Ethan is turning 6 next Saturday. We're having a party at the house. He's been asking about you. I think it would mean a lot to him if you came. I read it 3 times, each pass revealing new layers of wrongness. The formality felt rehearsed, like he'd drafted it multiple times before sending. The mention of Ethan, his son with her, the woman he cheated on me with, felt like a weapon disguised as sentiment. And that last line, that appeal to emotion, rang so hollow I almost laughed. Ethan barely knew me. We'd met once, maybe twice, during the messy overlap between my marriage ending and his new life beginning. He was just a toddler then, oblivious to the chaos his existence represented. There was no way he was asking about me. This wasn't about Ethan. This was about something else entirely. I set my phone down and stared at it, my mind racing. Why now? Why me? We hadn't spoken since the divorce was finalized. Our lawyers had handled everything, the house, the finances, the clean break I'd fought so hard for. I'd moved to a different part of the city specifically to avoid running into him. I'd rebuilt my life brick by brick, making sure there were no threads left for him to pull. So why was he pulling now? My phone buzzed again. Another message, this time from Jessica, a mutual friend from the old days. Someone I hadn't heard from in over a year. Did Marcus invite you to the party? I typed back quickly. Yeah, did he invite you too? Everyone from the old group got invited. It's weird, right? Like he's trying to recreate something. I felt a chill run down my spine. What do you mean? 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading into it, but Amanda's been posting a lot lately. Lots of stuff about their perfect life and how she's so much happier now. It feels pointed. Amanda, his new wife. The woman who'd sent me anonymous messages during my marriage, who'd smiled at me at parties while sleeping with my husband, who'd moved into my house before my side of the bed was even cold. I hadn't looked at her social media in over 2 years. I'd blocked her, blocked him, blocked anyone who might give me a window into their life. It was the only way I could heal, by making them ghosts. But now, Jessica had cracked that window open, and I could feel the draft. What kind of stuff is she posting? I asked, even though I shouldn't. I'll send you screenshots. You should see for yourself. A minute later, my phone lit up with images. Amanda's Instagram stories. Perfectly curated, each one a small act of performance. A photo of Marcus helping Ethan blow out candles on a practice cake, caption, "Blessed to have a man who shows up." A shot of their newly renovated kitchen, caption, "Finally living in a home that reflects who we are." And then the one that made my blood run cold. A selfie of Amanda in a designer dress leaning against Marcus, caption, "Can't wait for Saturday. It's going to be so good to see everyone, even the ones who couldn't move on." I read that last line 5 times. Even the ones who couldn't move on. That was about me. It had to be. Jessica sent another message. "I think they want you to come, but not for good reasons." I I stared at my reflection in the black screen of my phone, and for the first time in years, I felt that old, familiar shame trying to creep back in. The shame that told me I wasn't enough, that I'd been replaced by someone better, that I was the one left behind while they moved forward. But then I felt something else, something sharper, something that had been building quietly in the 4 years since I'd walked away. Anger. I picked up my phone and typed a response to Marcus. "I'll be there." I hit send before I could second-guess myself. Because if they wanted to see me, if they wanted to parade their perfect life in front of the woman they'd broken, then fine. Let them. But they had no idea who I'd become in their absence. The messages started coming in the days that followed. First from Jessica, then from 2 other friends I hadn't spoken to in months. All of them with the same concerned energy, the same careful warnings wrapped in casual conversation. "So, you're really going? Are you sure that's a good idea? I just don't want you to get hurt." Each message made the picture clearer. This wasn't just a birthday party. It was an event, a production, and somehow I'd been cast as the cautionary tale. Jessica called me on Thursday night, 2 days before the party. "I need to tell you something," she said without preamble, "and I need you to promise not to freak out." I sat down on my couch, already bracing myself. "What is it?" "Amanda's been talking to people in the group, asking questions about you." My chest tightened. "What kind of questions?" "About your life. Whether you're dating anyone, how you're doing financially, whether you've moved on." Jessica paused. She's fishing, and she's not subtle about it. I closed my eyes. What did people tell her? Most people didn't engage, but Jessica hesitated. Kara told her you've been quiet, that you're not on social media much, that you keep to yourself. "So Amanda thinks I'm alone and miserable?" "Yeah." Jessica's voice was gentle. "I think that's exactly what she thinks, and I think that's exactly what they want everyone else to think too." I felt a familiar knot forming in my stomach, the same one I'd felt throughout my marriage, the sense of being watched, judged, found lacking. "There's more," Jessica continued. "Amanda posted something yesterday. It's already been deleted, but I got a screenshot." My phone buzzed. I opened the image. It was a photo of Amanda and Marcus in their backyard, party decorations visible in the background. But it was the caption that gutted me. "Some people spend their lives moving forward. Others get stuck in the past. Grateful to be surrounded by people who choose growth." I read it 3 times, each word landing like a small, precise cut. "She wants me to see this," I said quietly. "She wants me to know I'm the stuck one." "That's what I think too," Jessica said. "And I think Saturday is going to be their big moment, their chance to show everyone how much better their life is compared to whatever they think your life is." I was quiet for a long moment, anger simmering just beneath the surface. "What are you going to do?" Jessica asked. I thought about it, really thought about it. I could cancel. I could send a polite message saying I couldn't make it, that something came up. I could disappear back into the life that I'd built for myself, the quiet, private life that nobody from my old world knew about. Or I could show up. "I'm going," I said finally. "Are you sure?" "Yeah." I felt a strange calm settle over me. They want an audience? They'll get one. "Do you want me to come with you?" Jessica offered. I smiled. "No, but thank you." Because I wasn't going to show up the way they expected. I wasn't going to arrive broken, alone, and small. I was going to arrive as the woman I'd become, the woman they'd never bothered to know. The woman who'd rebuilt herself from nothing while they were busy congratulating themselves for tearing me down. Over the next 2 days, I prepared. Not with desperation or spite, but with quiet, deliberate intention. I called Daniel, my partner, and told him everything. He listened without interruption, then said simply, "I'm coming with you." "I don't have to." "I know, but I want to." I also called my son, Leo. He was 9 now, from my first marriage before Marcus, and he'd watched me survive the divorce with a child's uncomplicated clarity. "Are you nervous?" he asked. "A little," I admitted. "Don't be," he said. "You're the coolest mom I know." I laughed, tears pricking my eyes. "Thanks, buddy." Saturday morning arrived cold and clear. I dressed carefully, not to impress, but to feel like myself, strong, comfortable, unshakable. Daniel picked us up in his car, not just any car, a sleek, beautiful thing that he'd worked years to afford, a symbol of everything he'd built through discipline and vision. Leo climbed into the back seat, grinning. "This is gonna be fun!" I looked at Daniel. He reached over and squeezed my hand. "You ready?" I nodded, because ready or not, they were about to see the truth. I hadn't just survived without them, I'd thrived.
The house looked exactly the same. Same pale gray siding, same black shutters, same oak tree in the front yard where I'd once hung a swing back when I'd believed this place was mine, back when I'd thought I was building a life here. But it wasn't my house anymore. It was theirs. Daniel pulled up slowly, the car gliding to a stop at the curb. Through the windows, I could see the party in full swing. Balloons tied to the mailbox, children running across the lawn, clusters of adults holding drinks and laughing. For a moment, I felt that old instinct to shrink, to make myself smaller, to apologize for existing. But then Leo leaned forward from the back seat and said, "Mom, you look amazing." And just like that, the fear dissolved. Daniel turned to me. "We can leave anytime you want. Just say the word." I looked at him, this man who'd shown up in my life when I thought I'd never trust anyone again, who'd been patient with my scars, who'd never once made me feel like I needed to be anything other than exactly who I was. "I'm good," I said. "Let's do this." He smiled, then stepped out of the car and walked around to open my door. I took his hand and stood, smoothing down my dress. Leo hopped out from the back, adjusting his shirt with the seriousness of a 9-year-old trying to look grown up. We walked toward the house together, Daniel on one side, Leo on the other, all three of us moving with the easy confidence of people who had nothing to prove. And that's when I saw her. Amanda. She was standing near the front door, greeting guests, her smile wide and bright. She wore a floral dress that probably cost more than my first car, her hair styled in perfect waves, every inch of her radiating the kind of confidence that comes from believing you've won. She didn't see me at first. She was mid-laugh with someone, her hand on their arm, performing the role of gracious hostess. But then her gaze drifted toward the street, toward the car, toward me. I watched her smile freeze, watched the color drain from her face, watched her eyes widen as she took in Daniel, then Leo, then the car behind us, the physical, undeniable proof that I wasn't the woman she'd imagined. For a split second, she looked like she was seeing a ghost. And maybe, in a way, she was. The ghost of the narrative she'd created, the one where I was supposed to be broken and alone, while she lived her perfect life in my old house. I saw her mouth open, then close, saw her glance toward the door like she was considering retreating inside. But it was too late. People had started to notice. Heads turned. Conversations paused. I felt the weight of dozens of eyes on me, all of them recalculating, reassessing, trying to fit this version of me into whatever story they'd been told. Marcus appeared in the doorway beside Amanda, and I saw the exact moment he registered my arrival. His expression shifted. Confusion, then recognition, then something that looked almost like panic. He said something to Amanda, low and urgent. She shook her head, her jaw tight. I kept walking. Daniel's hand was steady in mine. Leo walked with his head high, completely unbothered by the attention. We moved up the driveway like we belonged there, like this was the most natural thing in the world. When we reached the front door, Amanda finally found her voice. "You came," she said, her tone too bright, too forced. Her eyes darted to Daniel, then to Leo, then back to me. I could see the questions flickering across her face, the calculations she was trying to make. "Wouldn't miss it," I said simply. Marcus stepped forward, extending his hand to Daniel with the stiff formality of a man trying to regain control. "I'm Marcus. Thanks for coming." Daniel shook his hand, his grip firm. "Daniel, nice to meet you." The air between them crackled with unspoken tension. Marcus's eyes flicked to me. "You look good." It wasn't a compliment. It was an accusation. "Thank you," I said, keeping my voice even. "This is my son, Leo." Leo waved politely. "Hi." Amanda's smile was starting to crack at the edges. "Well, come in, come in. Ethan's in the backyard with the other kids. There's food and drinks in the kitchen." She gestured for us to enter, but I could see the tightness in her shoulders, the way her hand trembled slightly as she smoothed her dress. We stepped inside, and I felt the house close around me, familiar and foreign all at once. The furniture was different, the walls had been repainted, but the bones were the same. The bones remembered. And so did I. Leo tugged on my hand. "Can I go play?" "Of course," I said. "Stay where I can see you." He darted toward the backyard, and I watched him go, grateful for his easy resilience. Daniel leaned close, his voice low in my ear. "You okay?" I nodded. "Yeah, I am." Because the look on Amanda's face, the pale, stricken shock, had told me everything I needed to know. They'd expected me to arrive defeated, but I arrived whole. And that had changed everything.
The party moved around us like water around stones. People smiled, made small talk, asked polite questions about Daniel and Leo. But I could feel the current beneath the surface, the glances, the whispers, the recalibration happening in real time. Jessica found me near the kitchen, her eyes wide with barely concealed delight. "Oh my God," she whispered, pulling me aside. "Did you see Amanda's face?" I suppressed a smile. "Hard to miss. She's been in the bathroom for 10 minutes. People are starting to notice." Jessica glanced toward the hallway, then back at me. "I heard someone ask Marcus who you came with, and he pretended he didn't hear them." "Where is he now?" "Backyard, trying to play the perfect dad, but he keeps looking at the driveway like he's expecting backup." I shook my head, a strange mixture of pity and satisfaction settling in my chest. Daniel appeared with 2 glasses of wine, handing me one. "Making friends?" "Something like that," Jessica said, grinning. She excused herself, leaving us alone near the kitchen island. I took a sip of wine, letting the moment settle around me. The party moved around us like water around stones. People smiled, made small talk, asked polite questions about Daniel and Leo. But I could feel the current beneath the surface, the glances, the whispers, the recalibration happening in real time. Jessica found me near the kitchen, her eyes wide with barely concealed delight. "Oh my God," she whispered, pulling me aside. "Did you see Amanda's face?" I suppressed a smile. "Hard to miss. She's been in the bathroom for 10 minutes. People are starting to notice." Jessica glanced toward the hallway, then back at me. I heard someone ask Marcus who you came with, and he pretended he didn't hear them. Where is he now? Backyard, trying to play the perfect dad, but he keeps looking at the driveway like he's expecting backup. I shook my head, a strange mixture of pity and satisfaction settling in my chest. Daniel appeared with 2 glasses of wine, handing me one. Making friends? Something like that, Jessica said, grinning. She excused herself, leaving us alone near the kitchen island. I took a sip of wine, letting the moment settle around me. Through the sliding glass doors, I could see the backyard. Kids playing, adults clustered in conversation, Marcus kneeling beside Ethan, pointing at something. "Do you want to leave?" Daniel asked quietly. I considered it. The logical part of me knew that we'd already accomplished what we came for. We'd shown up, made our statement, proved that I'd moved on. But something held me there. Not spite, exactly. More like closure. The need to see this through, to stand in this space that once held so much pain and prove to myself that it couldn't hurt me anymore. "Not yet," I said. Amanda emerged from the hallway, her smile rebuilt but fragile. She'd reapplied her lipstick, fixed her hair, but her eyes gave her away. Tight, wary, calculating. She approached us with the forced casualness of someone walking toward a trap. "So," she said, her voice too bright, "Daniel, right? How did you 2 meet?" Daniel answered easily, his tone warm but revealing nothing. "Through mutual friends, about a year ago." "That's wonderful." Amanda's smile didn't reach her eyes. "And Leo, he's yours?" "From a previous relationship," I said simply. She nodded, her jaw tight. "He's adorable. Marcus mentioned you'd been married before." The implication hung in the air. "You've been married twice. Both times failed. I'm the one that lasted." I met her gaze steadily. "I was. It ended well, though. We co-parent beautifully." Something flickered across her face. Confusion, maybe, or frustration. This wasn't going the way she'd planned. "And you?" I asked, keeping my tone light. "How is married life treating you?" "It's perfect," she said quickly. Too quickly. "Marcus is an amazing father. Ethan's so lucky." "That's wonderful," I said, echoing her earlier words. The conversation felt like a chess match, each of us moving carefully, testing for weaknesses. Marcus appeared in the doorway, scanning the room. When his eyes landed on our little group, his expression tightened. He crossed the room in long strides, positioning himself beside Amanda with the territorial energy of a man marking his space. "Hey," he said, nodding at Daniel, then looking at me. "Can I talk to you for a second, alone?" I felt Daniel tense beside me, but I squeezed his hand gently. "It's okay." Marcus led me down the hallway, away from the noise of the party. We ended up in what used to be my office, now clearly repurposed as some kind of playroom. He closed the door and turned to face me, his expression unreadable. "What are you doing here?" I blinked. "You invited me." "I didn't think you'd actually come." "Then why invite me?" He looked away, running his hand through his hair, a nervous gesture I remembered from our marriage, from every difficult conversation we'd ever had. Amanda thought it would be good," he said finally. "To show that there's no hard feelings, that we've all moved on." "And have you?" I asked. "Moved on?" He looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw something complicated in his eyes. Regret, maybe, or resentment. It was hard to tell. "You look different," he said. "I am different." "The car," he said almost accusatorily. "The guy. The whole entrance. That wasn't necessary." "Necessary for what, Marcus? I came to a party. I brought my family. That's not a performance, that's just my life." He flinched, and for a moment I saw the man I once loved, the one buried beneath years of selfishness and betrayal. "This wasn't supposed to go like this," he said quietly. "What was it supposed to be like? Was I supposed to show up alone and broken? Was that the plan?" He didn't answer, but his silence was confirmation enough. I shook my head, something like pity settling in my chest. "I'm not the woman you left behind, Marcus, and you're not the man I thought I needed. We're strangers now, and that's okay."
I turned toward the door, but his voice stopped me. "Are you happy?" I looked back at him. "Yeah, I am." And for the first time since I arrived, I realized it was true. Not because of the car, or Daniel, or even the look on Amanda's face, but because I'd stopped defining myself by what I'd lost and started building something new from what remained. I walked back to the party, leaving Marcus alone in that room, and I didn't look back.
I found Daniel in the backyard, talking with a couple I vaguely recognized from the old days. Leo was nearby, engaged in some elaborate game with the other kids, his laughter carrying across the lawn. For a moment, I just watched them, this small, perfect snapshot of the life I'd built. Not perfect in the manufactured way Amanda tried to project, but perfect in its authenticity, in its quiet, unshakable realness. Daniel caught my eye and excused himself, crossing the lawn to meet me. "Everything okay?" he asked. "Yeah," I said. "Marcus just wanted to talk." And nothing. It's done." He studied my face, then nodded, trusting me in that easy way he always did. We were about to head inside when I heard raised voices coming from the side of the house. I recognized Amanda's tone immediately, sharp, desperate, barely contained. Daniel heard it too. "Is that?" "Yeah." We shouldn't have listened. We should have walked away, rejoined the party, pretended we didn't hear the argument unfolding in what was supposed to be a private moment. But we didn't walk away. We moved closer, staying out of sight, and the words became clearer. "This is your fault," she hissed. "You said she'd be pathetic. You said she'd show up alone and everyone would pity her." "I didn't know." Marcus's voice was defensive, strained. "You didn't know she'd show up looking like that? With someone? In a car that probably costs more than ours?" "Keep your voice down." "Don't tell me to keep my voice down." Amanda's pitch rose, trembling with anger. "Do you know what Sarah just asked me? She asked me if I felt weird that she had been so put together, like I'm the one who should feel insecure." "You're overreacting." "I'm not overreacting. This whole party was supposed to be about showing everyone how much better our life is. That's what you said. That's why you insisted on inviting her. And now she's here, and everyone's looking at her, and I look like..." "Like what?" Marcus's voice turned cold. "Like the woman who stole someone's husband," Amanda said, her voice breaking. "Like the homewrecker who's trying too hard to prove she's enough." There was a long silence. Then Marcus spoke, his voice quiet and cruel. "Maybe you are trying too hard." I heard Amanda's sharp intake of breath, the sound of hurt so raw that it made my chest ache despite everything. "You're unbelievable," she whispered. "I gave up everything for you. I dealt with the judgment, the whispers, the looks from your family. I raised your son. I turned your ex-wife's house into our home. And this is how you talk to me? I didn't ask you to do any of that. You chose it. You wanted it." "Because you promised," she broke completely. "You promised it would be different, that we would be different, that she was the problem, not you." Another long, terrible silence. Then Amanda spoke again, her voice hollow. "This was your idea, wasn't it? Inviting her. You wanted to see her fail. You wanted to prove to yourself that you made the right choice. That's not..." And now that she's here, looking happy and successful and fine without you, you're angry. Not at her, at yourself. I felt Daniel's hand on my arm, gently pulling me back. We'd heard enough. We moved silently, returning to the party before anyone noticed we'd been listening. But the words followed me, settling into my mind like pieces of a puzzle I hadn't realized I'd been solving. This whole thing, the invitation, the setup, the performance, it had never been about Ethan's birthday. It had been about Marcus trying to rewrite history, trying to prove that leaving me was the right decision, that his new life was better, that he'd won. But instead, he'd revealed the truth, that he was still defined by what he'd destroyed, still measuring his worth against mine, still trapped in the narrative of our failed marriage, while I'd moved on to write a different story entirely. Jessica found me a few minutes later, her eyes bright with concern. "Are you okay? You look pale." "I'm fine, just ready to go." She nodded understandingly. "I don't blame you. This whole thing feels toxic," I offered. "Yeah." I found Leo and told him it was time to leave. He protested briefly. He'd been having fun, but one look at my face and he nodded, saying quick goodbyes to the kids he'd been playing with. Daniel gathered our things and we headed toward the front door. That's when Amanda appeared, her smile back in place, but strained, her eyes red-rimmed. "Leaving so soon?" she asked, her voice brittle. "We should get going," I said gently, "but thank you for having us." She nodded, then looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. "You really are doing well, aren't you?" It wasn't accusatory. It was something sadder, something like recognition. "I am," I said honestly. She swallowed hard, her composure cracking for just a moment. I hope Ethan remembers you came." "Me too." We left through the front door, walking back down the driveway toward the car. The party continued behind us, music, laughter, the sounds of people pretending everything was fine. But I knew the truth now. They'd wanted to see me broken. Instead, they'd shown me their own cracks. And in that moment, I felt something unexpected. Gratitude. Not for the pain they'd caused, but for the strength it had forced me to find.
The drive home was quiet. Leo fell asleep in the back seat, his head tilted against the window, exhausted from an afternoon of playing. Daniel drove with one hand on the wheel, the other resting on the center console where I could reach it if I needed to. I didn't need to, but I appreciated knowing it was there. "You okay?" he asked after a while, his voice low so as not to wake Leo. I thought about the question. Really thought about it. "Yeah," I said. "I am." That was intense. It was. I looked.
The drive home was quiet. Leo fell asleep in the back seat, his head tilted against the window, exhausted from an afternoon of playing. Daniel drove with one hand on the wheel, the other resting on the center console, where I could reach it if I needed to. I didn't need to, but I appreciated knowing it was there. "You okay?" he asked after a while, his voice low so as not to wake Leo. I thought about the question, really thought about it. "Yeah," I said, "I am." That was intense. It was. I looked out the window, watching the city lights blur past. But it's over now. "Do you regret going?" I considered that. The tension, the whispers, the way Marcus and Amanda had tried to turn my presence into some kind of spectacle, the way it had all backfired so completely. "No," I said finally. "I think I needed to see it, to see them." "To prove something?" "No." I turned to look at him, to remind myself that I don't need to prove anything. He smiled at that, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "You're pretty remarkable, you know that?" I laughed softly. "I'm really not. I'm just surviving." That's not what I saw today. I saw someone who walked into a situation designed to humiliate her and came out with her head held high. That's not just surviving.
That's thriving. I felt tears prick my eyes, but they weren't sad. They were something else. Relief, maybe, or release. They wanted me to fail. They set up this whole thing expecting me to show up broken and alone. And when I didn't, when I showed up happy and whole, it broke their narrative instead. Do you think they'll realize that? Maybe. Maybe not. But it doesn't matter, because that's not my responsibility anymore. We pulled into my driveway, and Daniel turned off the engine. For a moment, we just sat there in the silence, Leo sleeping peacefully behind us. "Thank you," I said, "for coming with me, for being..." I trailed off, searching for the right words. "For being what?" "For being steady," I said finally. "For never making me feel like I need to be anything other than who I am." Daniel reached over and took my hand. "That's easy. You're pretty great as you are." I squeezed his hand, then glanced back at Leo. I should get him inside. Daniel came around to help, gently lifting Leo from the back seat. Leo stirred slightly but didn't wake, his head resting on Daniel's shoulder as we walked to the door. Inside, I tucked Leo into bed, pulling the covers up to his chin and smoothing his hair back from his forehead. He mumbled something in his sleep, then rolled over, already dreaming. I stood there for a moment, watching him, thinking about the life I was building for him, for us. A life that wasn't perfect, but was real. A life built on honesty and kindness and the quiet, unshakable knowledge that we were enough. Daniel was waiting in the living room when I came out, 2 cups of tea on the coffee table. I sat beside him, curling into his side, and for a long time we just sat in the comfortable silence of 2 people who didn't need to fill every moment with words. "Do you think they're okay, Marcus and Amanda?" He was quiet for a moment. "I don't know, but I don't think that's your problem to solve anymore." He was right. It wasn't. For so long, I'd carried the weight of that marriage, that betrayal, like it was mine to fix. Like if I'd just been better, smarter, more attentive, things would have turned out differently. But the truth was simpler and harder. Some people are determined to be unhappy. Some people build their identity around what they've escaped rather than what they're building. And no amount of success or happiness on my part could fix that for them. They invited me to their party expecting to see proof of my failure. Instead, they'd been confronted with the reality of their own, and that wasn't my burden to carry. "I think I'm done," I said quietly. "Done with what?" "Done with them, with that whole chapter. I think I've finally closed the book." Daniel pressed a kiss to the top of my head. "Good. You deserve to move forward." And I was. Every day, in small and quiet ways, I was moving forward. Not away from something, but toward something. Toward a life that was mine, that I'd built with my own hands, my own choices, my own courage. A life that no one could take from me because I'd learned the most important lesson of all. The only person's approval I needed was my own.
I never heard from Marcus again after that party. No messages, no calls, no awkward run-ins at mutual friends gatherings. It was like that afternoon had severed the last thread connecting us, leaving us free to exist in completely separate worlds. Jessica told me later that the party became the talk of our old friend group, not because of any drama or scene, but because of what didn't happen. Because I'd shown up, been kind, and left with grace. Because I'd refused to play the role they'd written for me. Apparently, Amanda and Marcus's marriage hit a rough patch after that. Jessica didn't know the details, and I didn't ask. It wasn't my story anymore. Daniel and I moved in together 6 months later. Leo was thrilled, immediately claiming the room with the best view and making Daniel promise to help him build a treehouse in the backyard. We got engaged a year after that. Nothing dramatic, just Daniel asking me one Sunday morning over coffee if I'd like to make this permanent. I said yes before he even finished the question. Sometimes I think about that party, about the look on Amanda's face when I stepped out of the car, about the whispered argument I wasn't supposed to hear, about the way Marcus's carefully constructed narrative had crumbled in the face of a simple truth. I'd moved on. Not because I was trying to win some unspoken competition, not because I wanted to prove anything to anyone, but because I'd chosen myself. I'd chosen my healing. I'd chosen to believe that I deserved better than the crumbs of love Marcus had offered me. And that choice had changed everything. People ask me sometimes if I regret going to that party, if I think it was worth it. I always say yes. Not because of how it made them feel, but because of what it showed me, that I'd survived, that I'd rebuilt, that the woman who'd signed those divorce papers with trembling hands was gone, replaced by someone stronger, wiser, more whole. Leo asked me once, a few years later, why I'd married Marcus in the first place. I thought about it for a long time before answering. Because I didn't know yet that I could be happy on my own. I thought I needed someone else to make me complete. But I was wrong. I was already complete. I just didn't know it yet. He nodded, processing that with the serious expression of a kid trying to understand adult things. "Are you complete now?" he asked. I smiled. "Yeah, buddy, I am." And I was. Not because of Daniel, as much as I loved him, not because of the car or the house or any external marker of success, but because I'd learned the lesson that Marcus and Amanda never did. You can't build happiness on someone else's pain. You can't find peace by tearing someone else down. And you can't move forward if you're still looking back. Some people spend their whole lives trying to prove they made the right choice by showing that everyone else made the wrong one. But the truth is simpler. The right choice doesn't need to be defended. It shows itself in the quiet moments, in the steady building of a life you're proud of, in the peace that comes from knowing you're exactly where you're supposed to be. I learned that the hard way, but I learned it, and that made all the difference.